Hey everyone, Mr. Dempsey here. This is another updated lap guide with the RAYBRIG NSX over at Autopolis. Let's get started. Look for the orange tip on the wall that is on the left that is hanging out behind the 100 meter mark. You'll be using that as your braking marker. So then you start to brake in a straight line and then follow the tire trails, and you want to get your car rotated as quickly as you can so you can get back on the throttle. Do not hit the grass, otherwise you're going to go spinning out. Then you will brake right after you pass this path that is on the left, and once again just try to get the car to rotate. You'll be using a bit of trail braking here. Then control your throttle, try to hit both apexes, and then you will brake before the curb on the right ends. Brake in a straight line as hard as you can, and the moment you start to turn, start to ease off on the braking. Try to get the car stabilized and pointing towards where you want it to go before you start to fully accelerate. Then as you're turning left, just ease off on the throttle, and when your car is starting to point away from the official stand on the other side of the track, that is when you can start to fully accelerate. Go alongside on the right, and then you will be using the second left arrow sign as your braking marker. Once again, brake in a straight line, heading towards the apex, and once you hit the apex, you can slowly start to accelerate your way out. Once again, make sure your car is stabilized before you start to fully accelerate. Then use the 50 meter sign on the left as your braking marker, and you'll be braking hard for just a moment, then trail brake a little bit to get the car to rotate through this turn. Then you'll ease off the throttle right before the curb on the left ends and start to turn in right here. Try to stick to the inside of this turn, and you will do some throttle control through this left-hander over here. Then before you turn right, you want to start to brake, hit this first apex, and then make a nice arc as you go through this turn to hit the apex of the next turn. Once your car is pointing away from the apex right here, you can then start to fully accelerate and try to be careful not to hit that left curb. Then ease off the throttle again before the curb on the right ends and start to turn in. Take your time trying to fully accelerate, and then when you're in the middle of the curb that is on the left, you'll be braking for just a moment. You might need to do a little bit of trail braking to bring your car to the inside. Try to hit a late apex so you can start to fully accelerate through this last turn right here, and you are good to go. Let's go ahead and talk about strategies. Alright, so this happens to be a Daily C race where the fuel is a ×3 and the tire wear is a ×13. Don't worry about the fuel, because all you'll be worrying about are the tires, because oh my goodness, just take a look at the tires on the bottom left hand of the screen, and this race has had me struggling so much just because the tires are deciding to be made out of paper or something. And interestingly, first place went with a different strategy that looked like it was a heck of a lot better, just because you don't have to worry about tire wear that much. And yeah, let's go ahead and talk about it. So the first strategy is actually the one that first place used in this video, where they started on mediums only. Then at the end of lap 5 for them, they pitted for a new set of racing medium tires. Then at the end of lap 10, they went for a new set of racing medium tires. You can also pit at the end of lap 4 and lap 8 if you want to get a little bit more even tire wear throughout your 3 stints. But either way, you'll be worrying a bit less about the tire wear since it just happens to be ridiculous. Another thing to note is that when you're behind someone, you're not getting the downforce that you need to make some of the turns. So you're going to be scrubbing your tires even more, which will increase the tire wear, especially for the front tires. So first strategy is something you think about. And for the second strategy, which is the one that most people go for, is where you start on mediums, and then at the end of lap 6, so halfway through the race, you pit in for a new set of racing medium tires. But the thing is just that the tire wear is just so ridiculous and it gets to the point where you're just struggling to try to control the car. Like either it wants to understeer into oblivion, or it just doesn't want to cooperate with you. Let's just put it that way. I mean, you kind of can do this one if you happen to be in a car where the tire wear is almost non-existent, but either way, I mean, you still have to deal with the downforce, so at this point, it's kind of just like delaying all the tire wear. And for the last strategy, you can do racing hards only, but the thing is that you're already off the pace because you're in tires that have less grip, and then by the end of the race, depending on how your driving style is, if you're behind someone so you're not getting the downforce, the tire wear is already going to be bad, so your pace is going to be even worse compared to those running the racing medium tires. But overall, I'm not going to lie, it's a pretty tough race, especially for me. I am not the best at Group 2 cars, but I decided, why not give it a try and see how it works out. So I don't see myself doing this race too much just because I was having a hard time just trying to get a control of the car. But either way, it was still interesting to see just how it all came out. But anyways, that is pretty much it for the video. You're just watching me struggle here and struggle a lot more. Hopefully you don't struggle as much as I do. I hope you all enjoyed this week's races. This is Mr. MCA wishing you a good race, and I'll see you in the next video.